Welcome, everybody.
10 people have died in Iran. At least 10 people have been killed in Israel. And 6 United States service members have lost their lives in this war.
The news has entered our.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, we got everybody in here now. Well, welcome, everybody. We are, again, very happy to have you on this lovely Wednesday afternoon, right in the middle of the week. We know it's a busy time of year for everybody, so the fact that you carved out this time means a lot to us, and we hope that you have some valuable time to collaborate with one another at our Catalyst Leaders meeting. This is an opportunity for leaders to come together who definitely share a similar mission, vision, and work. And so we do want to give you all time to do just that, to be able to collaborate and hear from one another throughout this session. I know that some of you joined us from all over as you're dropping in the chat from all across. We are also at GSNN joining from all over. We have Dave with us. Dave, where are you coming from? Where are you at right now, Dave?
Boise.
Boise.
Yes. Good to see everybody.
So we've got Dave in Boise. Brendan, our strategy coach, is joining from Rhode Island. Is that right, Brendan?
Yep. Just got 33 inches and now it's almost gone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I myself, Sarah Chattel, I'm joining from Miami, as is our executive director, Ileana Alvareda. So we are back in warm weather. We got a little moment of the cold weather, but we are back in the warmth down here in Miami. So happy to be here with you all as well. And like I said, just the fact that we're all together, it feels good. I know that a lot of people that were at the Green Schools Conference, which we're going to dive into in a moment, shared that sentiment of, in many cases, you're working in these silos or at least a part of very small teams across your schools or districts that have, sustainability in these initiatives as a priority. And so, it always feels really nice when we get to come together for our community of practice sessions or Catalyst Leaders meeting, knowing that you all share the same vision and mission as Green Schools. And it's great to kind of carve out this time to be together. So today we have on the agenda, we promised
What am I watching? Just the Green Schools Conference.
Beth is giving us the introduction of what we're about to talk about. We are going to dive right in and do a recap of the Green Schools Conference. And we will have a little bit of a leadership lens. It is the Catalyst Leaders meeting, so we definitely want to give a nod to the leaders in the room and give you a chance to talk about your leadership style and actions. And I just want to stop sharing for a second so we can all see each other. If you can use your React and give a thumbs up if you were actually a part of the Green Schools Conference, if you were able to join in San Diego, was it 2 weeks ago now? So a thumbs up if you were there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Phoebe was there. Rachel was there. Justin was there. Brendan, Nancy, awesome. Nicole and Eric. Okay, so it looks like about half of the group was at the conference, and the other half will get a chance to hear a little bit about it, and hopefully we'll bring some of the essence of that conference back to you all. But feel free to chime in as we do that recap. Again, this was the Green Schools Conference, the annual conference 2026. We were in San Diego, and we have a couple people that have been voluntold. Just kidding. Our wonderful partners that are happy to join us and talk about their experience. But like I said, about another 6 or 7 of you, I did not mean to use 6, 7, 6 or 7 or 8 of you that were there, by all means, you can chime in and share your experience as well. But we do have Justin Keene, who is a sustainability specialist in Fayetteville Public Schools, and we have Clark Seep, who is a director of sustainability in Loudoun County Public Schools, that were there at the conference, that played a big part of the conference, and that are excited to come back and share some of their experiences, their key takeaways, and even those emerging themes. So I'm going to hand it off to Justin to go ahead and share a little bit about your experience and those key takeaways from the conference.
All right. Thank you. Hey, thank you so much. It's good to see y'all. Super glad to
always join these meetings and see people like you said. I am in a silo for sure, department of 1.5. So always good. And the Green Schools is a great place to go. And it's been instrumental in kind of helping me find my feet in the role and then help us move our programming forward. So 3 takeaways that I wanted to share coming back. I was lucky to be able to meet with Dave after and kind of think through my notes and so many good sessions that I was able to attend. Was inspired, had validation, had humbling experiences where I knew I had a lot to do, and then kind of articulated how to move some ways that I could solve some of those problems. So that was really good. So first for me was green infrastructure, like our schoolyards as assets, and that was a really important theme that I picked up on, and I think our board member that was there was thinking a lot about. And we're fortunate to have incredible campuses. We've started thinking about how we can take other schools to our own sites and foster those experiences across the district. And so that to me was a big one, and some of the work that we're doing. So thinking not just about the landscape part, the habitat, we've been really into that, but then just that these are educational assets. There's, I've already went and looked at some other properties that I think we could develop, and I think that's something that in a growing community where you have partner fatigue and you have trouble finding or affording offsite experiences for all your schools, that fostering that ability within your own, we have 17 campuses, so we're not a huge district by the GSNN standards, but we have a lot of nice properties that can be, stewarded and be just live sites for these projects that we have in mind, but also just cheap offsite field trips for our kids in our district as we grow. Another huge one was curricular knitting. Really working to push our sustainability goals into the overall curriculum maps, finding places where teachers can identify opportunities for either sustainability project-based learning, place-based, or outdoor education. And then we're pretty invested into our watershed and stream work. And so I think finding where those things naturally exist in those curriculums and those highly qualified instructional materials that they're being asked to use is something that we're really working on. Something that was presented by colleagues that may not be here, but wonderful GSNN network again, was thinking about the portrait of the graduate. And so what district work is going on where we can embed climate literacy, sustainability. It may be Ozark ecology for us, but how can I make sure that we're in those conversations and that product that we're putting out as a district also represents those values that we hold dear, and try to move through our office. And then if I had to pick one more, it would be we're developing our work plan. So thinking a lot about how do we engage people in the work plan. There were a lot of really good examples of how other districts had built their sustainability action committee throughout their leadership team. And so just thinking more intentionally about how we engage those people as we're really getting the sustainability action plan implemented and get, with making sure it's carried out with intentionality and fidelity. And so I think that was something so there was a lot of good ideas there to think about. And then if I had to add one more, and I'm chatty. I need a green revolving fund. That was so smart, and I got to get one. So so many good ideas for us. A lot of those were the ones that stuck out though, to like really, those are problems that we're actively seeking solutions for. And so I think that was good.
Tell me about that fund that you just shared. What did you
About what?
The last thing you just shared, the green revolving fund, is that what I heard?
Yeah, so we have pretty good, foundation and success rate for our sustainability projects across the district. They're definitely spreading out of the classrooms where it was seeded, but we always struggle to find that district funding. I am at a school, so.
You're good, Justin.
And so I think
Yeah.
having a way to fund those projects when they come from outside programs that have some sort of budget attached to it, or being creative with my own budget, finding where we were real successful with grants, but they're within those tight cycles. And so how can we kind of support this as it goes forward? Also green team needs, things like that come up. I thought that would be a good way to do that. So that may be looking for some of the savings that we've created through sustainability efforts, or it could be trying to get some district budget to start small, being directed towards those projects. Maybe kids would apply, and then could roll over time or finding partners. But that was one that was for sure. My budget's good for where we're at in our development process, but there's just things that come up that are outside even the way we have those funds allocated, or the way they're described.
Absolutely. And thinking about what you said about the portrait of the graduate, I know at the conference, Lyra was present and they were talking about that seal of climate literacy. And I know that we've had them on before and that they're expanding. And I think they already identified specific states that they were doing that work. So I encourage you to take a look at that as well, to see if in fact you are part of one of the states that they're moving that work into.
Yeah, Sarah, you should come here and run for state legislator, and then you and I could work on that together.
Duly noted. I'll get on that. Thank you so much, Justin, for sharing. I'm going to turn it right over to Clark, who I know also had some great experiences and was also presenting at the conference. So Clark, I'll hand it off to you.
For sure. Thanks to everybody. And Justin, I fully believe in your ability to get that green revolving fund set up. What Justin didn't share with you is he attended the conference with a school board member and one of his assistant superintendents. And so he is a driving force in his area, bringing about real change and opportunity in his school division. And that is what I love about the Green Schools Conference, is it is full of people just like Justin. Right. And so it is this guaranteed space where you can come and you feel like you're with your people. Right. And you just get idea upon idea upon idea. And so those are the two things that I really wanted to stress in terms of my experience this year. Whenever I attend a conference like this, or I head into a training, or I know I'm going to be with folks that are doing this good, hard, complex work, I always try to think through, like, what are the questions I want to get answered by the end of these 2 days or the end of these 3 days. And I came in really thinking about some of the programmatic work that we have started here in Loudoun County Public Schools over the last couple of years, and that I want to take to scale. So we've done a lot with green teams, we've done a lot with curriculum development, but what is it that's going to take us kind of to that next level? And so every session that I attended, every person that I talked to, every conversation that I sought out, I was really looking for kind of, so what is going to help kind of bridge that gap, or the ideas that could be replicated. And it's amazing to me, like every session I went to, I was like furiously writing down things. We're working on recycling, and we've got to come at it from every angle. But I spoke with someone who they have this specialized green custodial training in their division that the sustainability office leads and offers on a regular cadence. And through that, not only have they created awareness around green cleaning and recycling and the why behind those things, but they've also built these relationships with custodians across their division that are just incredibly invaluable in the work that we do. And so I was like, well, I need one of those. I need a custodial training. Like, well, let me take that on. I'm fun. I can lead good trainings. And so that was one of the ideas that I'm really carrying forward. I'm always amazed at the free curriculum resources that are out there, and I learn about something new every single time I attend this conference. And so EcoRise has this super cool partnership. EcoRise is an organization that was there and represented at the conference. And they have this super cool, lengthy track record of work with Austin Independent School District, and just some of the stuff that they have created and that is readily available for any of us to use. I mean, I was just reminded time and again that there are partners out there that want to do this work with us, and that when we work together, we can do so much more. And so that I've already started to pull things like that are directly applicable to what I'm already doing. And then one of the things that I was looking for, and I literally wanted to like stand up and scream in this one session I was in, because we are expanding outdoor learning spaces here in our division. There's a big drive coming through my office for that. We've been able to secure some capital funding to do this really cool participatory study over the next year that will bring in student voices and educator voices and community voices around what do outdoor learning spaces need to look like on our campuses. And one of the things we keep running into is accessibility, right? How do you create green, texture-full outdoor learning spaces that aren't just cemented over, right? The whole campus. And so I'm like, there's got to be answers out there to these questions. We're East Coast. And I didn't even think about it. Like, we have divisions that operate on the beach almost daily. And they're like, well, have you looked at these, I think they're called access tracks. And have you thought about Moby mats and like all these different products that are in use in other divisions that have proven their worth and value time and again, that just aren't commonplace in some of the spaces that we work, either because they're kind of regional or maybe we don't have the same topography or what have you. And so I just really underscore the wealth of ideas and models and strategies, and nobody is stingy with what they're doing. That's what I love about this community. Like, we want to share, we want these ideas to be replicated, learn from my failures so that you don't repeat the same things. And that's my second point, and what I'm just affirmed in every single time I attend one of these conferences, that many of us, as Justin stated when he first started his comments, many of us work in very small teams. And sometimes that work can feel, as integrative as it is, it's inherently collaborative, right? But it can feel very isolated because you're constantly having to advocate for the value of your program. You're constantly having to build awareness around why this is important. And when you go to green schools, you're surrounded by people that foundation is already set. And they truly do become an extension of your team. Like, I have a team. It may not be located here in Leesburg, Virginia, right? But I have a team that is strong and mighty and so invested in this work, and that will have my back every single time. And that's the green schools sector.
Thank you, Clark. I think everybody was nodding their heads in agreement with you, and the majority of what you're saying, specifically about people are not trying to gatekeep. We want the community and this to grow, and I think that I know I felt that in throughout the conference as well, but also love to hear it and be a part of that when we get together and opportunities like the Catalyst leaders or the community of practice. And I think it's a good time to plug in that at GSNN, I know we've been talking about it a lot, but we want to be able to curate spaces for some of you that are on a certain mission or really focused in on a certain initiative, but feel like I know I've been on my own path and my own journey, but I never get off on exits left or right to see what everybody else is doing, or I just don't have the time or the space, and we want to be the connectors for you for that. So in any opportunity that you have to share with one of the strategy coaches, with Dave, with Leon, with anybody that you're working with in GSNN, to say, we're really, we're focused on this. And if you know anybody else that's really working on this specifically, we are happy to curate the time and the space for you all to come together to have those conversations and kind of mini community of practices. So keep that in mind always, because we do see the value. We know that when you have people that are passionate and working, the collective knowledge in the room is greater than any one individual. So the more the merrier. I want to open it up and see, I know a lot of you were there. If anybody else wants to share something that, they experienced at the conference that they were like, that was exactly what I needed to hear or experience, please feel free to share. I know, Dave, you were at the conference. If you'd like to share any of your key takeaways or any of those emerging themes that you heard, feel free to unmute and share.
I'll share quick, Sarah. Thank you. Or maybe you were asking the other Dave. Is that right?
Well, I was talking to, but Dave Kramer, you're on the call. I know that you had a busy afternoon and you were going to try and jump in. If you'd like to share, by all means.
Yeah, jump in, Dave. I can hear you.
In the car in Boston, not driving. No, I mean, just real quickly, I would echo that feeling of I often feel isolated in my own role as the only green program director in Boston public schools, but certainly in Boston Green Academy where I work. And so it's really nice to have that community of people really excited about the topic and geeking out about all this stuff. I think for me, what I got the most out of was understanding the full range of options related to professional development for my staff and building environmental literacy and adults who can then work with students in creative ways. I think seeing how some of the sessions, I really focused on those types of sessions, and then the field trip with GSNN students was really beautiful and also exciting to see. Think about ways to bring some of that applied. I think it's really something I talked about with Brendan there. It's cool to see how teachers going on a field trip or field studies with their students were also doing professional development at the same time, not taking a day to step back and letting the on-site people do everything. So I thought that was just really cool. I'd like to replicate that with our teachers when we go out to the Boston Harbor Islands, the Outward Bound program we go with, and other types of things like that.
Well, thank you for sharing, Dave. On your way to your dentist appointment, right?
That's correct. Yay.
Listen, we have to do it whenever we can. We get it in. Thank you, Dave, and thanks for being able to join in. So there's a couple questions in the chat. I see Clark. For Clark, did you get into that? I think, yes. Okay. Abigail was asking for those who weren't able to be there, can you point us in the direction of some resources about outdoor classroom design that you referenced? Any in particular that you can share?
Yeah, I just put some stuff in the chat, but definitely check out Children in Nature Network. And then the session that I found so helpful was hosted by one of the school divisions in New Mexico. I think it was Santa Fe, but they've just got some really cool statewide resources that prioritize environmental education and nature-based learning. That while they're specific to New Mexico, I think there's a ton in there that would be relevant, in terms of like process and probably significantly so, maybe not entire overlap, but content as well. So check that out.
Okay. And Blair is dropping some suggestions. So Beth is asking, how can we convince superintendents? Is that to be able to attend the Green Schools Conference, Beth? Yeah, so any suggestions on that? Because, sometimes we do have to look above us to get that, opportunity and ability to be able to leave to fill our cups with opportunities like the Green Schools Conference. So anybody have any suggestions for Beth so that she can make it next year? Or for anybody else that has been looking for that green light to be able to go?
I would definitely suggest getting those students out in front of the executive directors or the board of, the school board. And so I think a lot of our success was built around student presentations that where we had previously been told no, some doors started opening in sustainability as far as project-based learning for us. And so I think finding those, if you have existing programs that you can build off of, or you have those examples throughout your district, finding those and then giving those students an audience and letting it impress upon the adults, that it's important to them. I think that's been a key gateway for us.
Sarah, I would just add, Justin had an assistant soup that was with him, and they presented and they did an amazing job. And there were a couple other superintendents that were there. Sometimes it's not necessarily asking a superintendent, can you go, but will you come with me? And trying to get them there and telling them how awesome this conference is and the experience, and really tying it into what their core, what they're, at the heart, what they're concerned about, which is financial stewardship, academic and social success, and the health and well-being for their students. And all those are hit upon when you go to the Green Schools Conference.
Agreed.
And this kind of leads us a segue right into the next conversation, because the Green School Conference is an opportunity for all of us, like I said, to fill our cups, to build our own capacity so that we can go back and be re-energized and have what it takes to go back and be able to build the capacity of others and to continue on with the initiatives that we know are powerful and important in our own district. And we need, as leaders, we need to continue to lean into each other and be able to have these moments of collaboration. I want to remind everybody of our Green Schools National Network powerful document, our green print, that really is the guide to whole school and whole district transformation. We use this when we do our sustainability action plans. We do this in reference to recalibrating where our focus is, maybe where our areas of strength are, areas that we know we want to move forward and progress in. And today, because it seems fitting, it's the Catalyst Leaders, we're going to dive into the impact system of leadership. And specifically, the way the green print is laid out is that we have our core practices under our impact systems, and then we have indicators throughout. And it is very thorough and comprehensive. If you haven't had a chance to dive into it on all the free time you have all day long, just pick a moment to, that's a joke, I'm just kidding. I know you do not have the free time, but it really is powerful and comprehensive. And it is a great guide sometimes when we are feeling stuck to prioritize and to really dive into where we want to continue to grow as leaders. And I'm going to ask that you take a minute to look at this specific indicator under the leadership system, which is indicator E. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to read. And as you're reading, just want you to kind of let those words or phrases that really resonate with you, if you could drop those in the chat, and we're going to have a little conversation afterwards, but go ahead and take a minute to read through this. And as you read, we're just dropping in the chat any keywords or phrases that resonate with you, that feel powerful for you. Definitely seeing us focus on job embedded, learning from each other, teamwork, support, and engagement. Again, learning from each other. So a lot of learning from each other, right? Those opportunities to grow alongside one another, plan, organize, research, and experiment collaboratively. Yeah. For me, I put alongside faculty and staff. I think when you look at that subsection B, leaders build their own leadership capacity. Those of you specifically, right, that were able to be at the Green Schools Conference, this is an opportunity for us to go and build our own capacity. But are we able to do that? How often are we able to do that alongside faculty and staff? How often are we able to learn from each other and plan, organize, research, and experiment collaboratively? And that's really the tricky part. And I don't know that there's one right answer to that, but it definitely starts with a vision. So when we think about all this, for any of this to work, we need a vision for professional learning to be powerful in our schools and our districts. And so my question for you all as leaders who are here today, and for us to really be able to learn from one another and hear what's working across the country, is what is the vision that you or your school district has for professional learning that is advancing to advance, or that advances your sustainability initiatives? So what is that vision? And I'm really just going to ask for anybody that's willing to share, to just unmute and chime in. This is a conversation of us really thinking about what is that vision that we have. Do you have a vision? Is it a clear vision? What is that vision for professional learning that's going to be able to advance the initiatives, the sustainability initiatives in your school or district?
Sarah, do you want, I'm wondering if it maybe might be valuable if we went in the breakout rooms just for a few minutes and connected with a couple people and then come back with some ideas.
We certainly can. I can go ahead and open the breakout rooms now.
Is that possible?
And yeah, for sure. And that'll get us into smaller groups to share
Yeah.
as we work in there. So let me
And we
about
can,
3 breakout groups, and then that'll give us a little bit of a smaller space here. Let me make sure. All right, I went ahead and opened up those rooms. So you'll just join into those and that'll put you in the smaller group to answer that question. Hi, Cindy. Were you able to go into the breakout room? Oh, you're muted.
Hi, I had a staff meeting till now, so I just arrived.
Oh, okay. So I'll open it up for you. I can put you over in a breakout room. So really they're just talking about their vision, what you see on the screen there for professional learning that advances your sustainability initiative. So what is that vision? What does that look like? What are the thoughts about how you're gonna, use professional learning and work collaboratively across your district? So that's really what they're
That's
talking
great.
about.
I just sent out an email about that for our district, our school today, so that's great.
Perfect. I'm gonna put you right. Let me see here. Breakout room.
Yes, I'm sorry to be late. Is there a way I can, if there's earlier slides I can check in later?
Yeah,
Are they?
absolutely. I will, it'll be sent to you because you'll be on the register. You'll show that you came, and then
Okay.
the full recording will
Yeah.
be.
And I'll just say one other thing since you're leading. We really wanted to come and our funding didn't come through. We're in Ithaca, New York. So I still popped into this because we have a lot of organizing going on that we love to collaborate with people.
Well, we're happy to have you. And like I said, that recording, what we've done prior will be on there, so it'll be sent to you. All right, I'm
Thank
gonna go
you.
ahead and put you in the room now. You feel free to join. Come back. Eric, your Wi-Fi is not too lame. You got it up and running, right?
It's in and out, in and out.
In and out, okay. Well,
Yeah.
welcome back.
Thank you.
Would love to hear what was discussed in the breakout rooms. If we could share out if anybody's willing from room 1. If you remember what room you're in, we can start right with room 1. Any parts of the conversation that you'd love to bring back to the group? Who was in room 1?
I was in 1. I'll highlight, I really liked the conversation around if we're thinking about vision, how we are trying to be really intentional about alignment and not just alignment within the curriculum instruction, but how do we get the other divisions, whether it's nutrition, and Jackie brought that up, or transportation, or technology, or procurement, everything we can think of, along with curriculum instruction. How do we get everybody aligned, recognizing and thinking that sustainability is important and valuable and a key part of their work, and using and having students being involved in that sharing of that vision is part of the success stories that we hear from a variety of people, and it's also something that got brought up in our room as well.
Yeah, and that's similar to what Justin had shared earlier, right? Using the students and student voice to influence adults. Students are the reason we do this work, right? And they are our customers. And sometimes the further removed we get from schools and from those faces of those students, the more we disconnect from our purpose. And sometimes bringing those students and those individuals back into the human system reminds people, what's important and gets people on board. So definitely, Dave, I agree with that. Room 2, did we want to share anything out from conversations from room 2? Room 2, I saw the little microphones going off. I know people were sharing
Phoebe,
in
were
there.
we in room 2?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what room. But maybe.
But pretend you were in room 2. What did room 2 have
Well,
for us?
it wasn't necessarily a vision, but Sarah, as an architect, kind of shared like something, outside of the education realm, but making sure that you actually provide appropriate spaces for the learning to take place, not just assuming that it's going to happen, but making sure that the time and space is created. She's coming from an industry lens, and also like the best possible resources are already available. You're not like, all right, here you go, but that you curate like high quality resources to be able to provide your team to be able to best support their learning. That was coming from like an industry perspective.
And we had one more room. We'll call it room 3, since nobody really knows what room they were in.
We were in room 3. I can share there. Beth shared that her vision in terms of the next step for professional learning is to get folks from her division to the conference next year. That just hearing what has been shared here and knowing what she knew about the conference, they tried to go this year and couldn't, the budget didn't come through, but that is such a really critical step in kind of building that awareness, building that shared vision together. And I couldn't underscore that more. We also talked about how sometimes we got to take bites out of this, right? Like our vision for professional learning, while yes, the work that we do is intricate and complex, and we can make those sustainability connections with every single thing that's happening in our divisions. We're not going to be able to offer professional learning for all of it all at once, right? That trying to do that isn't feasible. And so if you're focusing in, we talked a little bit about like utility management, like figure out some learning around that, figure out who would benefit from having that learning, and then make the connection for them. Same for curricular resources, right? Like this is available. This is how it aligns with what you're already doing in your classrooms. Like, let me give this to you as a useful and usable tool that will make your days potentially easier and definitely enriched. And so building out your professional learning around those really kind of digestible pieces could be an easy way to start.
I was going to
Agreed.
add on to that, like in what Beth is asking, because there's a perception sometimes that you just go to a conference and it's like, all right, I went to the conference, but there's other way, there's the right way to do a conference, right? Where you're going to ensure like value and impact, where you know what your strategic priorities are within your district. You look at the presentations that are out there really intentionally and make sure you get to those presentations, and identify and document those key resources. And then you come back and you meet and you share those resources in a really systematic way and say, like, here, these are some of our priorities, and these are some resources I was able to gain and some ideas I was able to get to take back to your home district. And if you can pitch that and do the conference like the right way, a strategic way, to be able to make sure you're not just going and attending and it's in your brain, but you're bringing back concrete resources, is another great way to be able to pitch the value of the conference.
It's like having an accountability partner. Like it's
Exactly.
actually worthwhile to have two people because like we can keep each other accountable and ideally take more action afterward.
Yeah, Phoebe just dropped in the chat the
Yeah,
idea of
I'm
coming with a
actually
team.
I was just looking at the reg list. Hi everyone, I'm Phoebe. I work with the Center for Green Schools, if I don't know you already, and help facilitate the conference alongside my friends here from GSNN. And yeah, I'm gonna look at the reg lists for the last 2 years and see like how many teams of people or like how many organizations are represented more than once by attendees. Because definitely noticed this year there were groups that were showing up in force. So and even just two people is force in some cases, but like a number of school districts and schools that had, you know, 5 or more people coming, which was pretty impressive. And not the normal Prairie Crossing team that always shows up in full force.
Yeah, and Justin's saying you're able to see all your presentations that way too, right? A divide and conquer and being able to come back and share and then having that accountability going back as a team versus one person that as soon as you get back, you have a long list of emails to get back to and nobody's interested in how excited and motivated and inspired you come back, right? So definitely if that's a possibility, planting that seed now regarding the power of attending that conference and finding if you can, identify those individuals. And then going back to Clark's point of thinking in terms of professional learning and figuring out how to be very strategic and finding those digestible elements of what you want to push out and be able to collaborate and using the green print is also a great opportunity to dive in when you think it feels very overwhelming when we're thinking about operations or we're thinking about curriculum instructions and where do I even begin to be able to get that ball rolling and to start to get some traction. Diving in there and really looking specifically, it's so comprehensive that sometimes that digestible piece is right there and you could say, bingo, that could be a priority. That's something I could really wrap my head around and I could bring out and start to get that, get some wheels on it. So something else to consider. And as we think about the professional learning opportunity that we were brought here today, that Green Schools Conference, I know Brendan was a part of the Site Summit aspect of it. I know Dave Den Hartog was also a part of it. And so I want to invite you all to kind of chime in here as we wrap up and be able to share your experiences as well.
Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, so building on the Site Summit, what I found really incredible, I mean, what a resource the Farm Lab is. I
Can you
did not.
start, Brendan, just the folks that weren't a part of it, just telling them
Yeah,
what the
so
Site Summit was and
the
how
Site
that works
Summit
with your conference?
was a 1 day experience after, which what Dave Kramer was referring to as the field trip. But it was an immersive 1 day experience the day after the conference that attended the Encinitas Unified School District Farm Lab, which is an amazing resource. It's a great farm. But as Dave Kramer was saying, it's the farm lab. It's not just a farm. It's also the place where they do all of their experiential learning for their grade level problem-based projects for their school. So instead of going off-site and paying for something, they have in-district locations where they have programming all set. Really the focus being different based on the curriculum that the students are doing, whether it's watersheds in grade 3, wind energy in grade 4, engineering and design is sort of throughout, but they have embedded within their uh, curriculum, district curriculum initiatives, they have the professional learning for the teachers that's happening there while the students are doing like their 2 or 3 day field experience at the farm lab. So it's not, it's a, yes, it's a farm providing food for the district, but it's also a place where they actually take their students to be able to do, experiential and project problem-based learning that is intentionally structured to be able to be professional learning for the teachers as well. And their big focus clearly this year was around the design thinking process and getting students really, really being problem solvers. So just the ability that like how smart they were in their use of resources there and the alignment between what they're doing and their overall district instructional priorities, I think was just like a really cool, um, savvy way of doing it, both saving resources and money with transportation and outside resources, but also just alignment. That's a lot to be able to get to that place, but how valuable it can be to invest in your own district properties when you have like these projects that can take place and develop over time.
And even at a smaller level, I mean, that lab was,
Yeah, it started small, right? Yeah.
Right.
And it's grown. Yeah.
So thinking on the level that makes sense at your school or district, is there another school that's doing some really great things that could then become, the pilot school where you can bring students and teachers from other schools to be inspired and to see what it looks like maybe just a little bit further down the road, and watch that grow. Very cool. Thanks, Brendan. Dave, last word?
Well, I did put a link to the farm lab for people to check out, and so you can see that in that Encinitas Union School District, how they took a 10-acre piece of land that was just abandoned and created it not only a farm that is integrated within their school district, but something that's serving the community as well. Um, and yeah, I would just offer like there's so many different things that people have said why the conference is valuable, and we're all grateful that could be there and be part of it. And it's nice to be able to share some of these highlights and to think about this with each other. And hopefully we can be there next year. We already know where it's going to be, right, Phoebe? We've established that, which is very early, typical.
Yes. Yeah.
And tell us again, Phoebe.
Yeah, you want the deets?
Yeah.
We're gonna be hosting in Austin, Texas, and excited to have such a great partnership with Austin ISD and EcoRise is located there and done a lot of work. So many great partners locally. The dates are February 8th and 9th. It's a Monday, Tuesday conference, and then on the 10th we'll probably do tours and offsite excursions in the morning. So plan for the 8th to 10th. It'll be a nice, hopefully warm. I'm not promising anything because I promised sun in San Diego and there wasn't much of it, but it'll be a southern experience in February.
Maybe you could promise wind. There's maybe a high likelihood, just like San Diego.
Not gonna promise anything other than a good time. If you all show up, it's gonna be a great time.
Yeah. The other thing I would just offer is like one of my highlights, probably other people's too, is the keynote speakers. And there were some amazing, like the board member from San Diego who just gave a really heartfelt perspective about why we do this work. And Phoebe, I don't know where to get a copy of that. I reached out to Dr. Peterson. I'd love to get a copy of his speech. It'd be something I'd love to share with other people. I don't know if you can help with that,
Yeah,
but
maybe we can. I
yeah.
think someone else had reached out about that too. So let me see if I can follow up on that, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll share that out with you all.
Yeah.
And the second one was the student, Nalili, who was the finishing keynote. She was amazing. She's from Los Angeles. She unveiled new things that I didn't know about, like the number of the urban oil wells that are in Los Angeles and how they're hidden from view. And having traveled around Los Angeles, I never even thought about that. Like the number of oil wells that are there and the impact that not only had on her and her family, but the advocacy that she has led to change not only state regulation, but to really think about that on a national level. And this is a young woman who was 9 and 10 years old that started that advocacy, is now 19 or 20, and just, such a leader and very articulate on how she shared. So I really appreciate how at Phoebe and her team, they find these amazing speakers and they can leave some lasting inspiration as well. Um, but perhaps my highlight, like all of you, is not just the sessions or the speeches. It's really the connection that we get with each other. And so just really grateful to be there with several of you and always looking for opportunities for that to happen when we can with each other. But these type of opportunities are good too, these virtual. So thanks for coming together. Thanks for sharing some ideas around your vision for leadership and where that might take us for the future.
And our hour has come to a close. It goes by fast. I always say not every hour is created equally. And when we get to come together and collaborate and hear from each other, it seems to go quickly. But we will be together again soon. Please make sure you keep your eyes open for our next community of practice. Please, an email will be followed up from today with today's full recording and chat. So if there was anything you missed in the chat, anybody that you want to reach out to that you heard share either in the breakout room, feel free to use that as a resource and continue to connect with each other. And of course, here at GSNN, we will help you in any way that we can to connect with one another. And we appreciate it. And there's also a survey in the email that follows up that we do read those responses because that does inform our sessions and how we can help you. And specifically for professional learning, if there's topics, experts, anything that we can bring to you that you see as valuable, that's going to be aligned to that vision you guys just talked about with professional learning, fill out that survey and let us know so we can start doing our work to make sure that we're bringing you, quality content and things that are going to help be aligned with your work as well. So again, thank you guys. Happy Wednesday. I hope the rest of your week goes awesome. And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks,
Thanks
y'all.
for
See ya.
joining.
Have a good rest.
Thank you, Clark and Justin. Appreciate you.